So what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is LittleMarMan. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to another one of these storyline videos. It really does mean a lot, and the support I am getting right now is seriously extreme, and I want to thank each and every one of you once again. Of course, if you are new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, let's get straight into today's topic. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking me on Twitter, and of course when I was streaming, where the hell is Samantha in this timeline? Who is in control of the zombies? Like, the eyes of the zombies are yellow, symbolizing somebody of the Maxis bloodline is actually in control of the zombies. This of course contrasts with the blue-eyed zombies in which we've seen in Black Ops 2 when Richtofen was in control of the zombies. And if all this information is new to you, then just take it that whoever is in the MPD is in control of the zombies. And you could almost say in a sense that the entire Black Ops 1 game was based on Richtofen and our three other original characters all sort of trying to get to the moon and collect the parts needed to actually get Richtofen in control of the zombies. Obviously our three other characters, Nikolai, Takio and Dempsey, had no clue of Richtofen's grand scheme. And thus we might as well continue with this little summary of the entire Call of Duty Zombies saga. But then once we get up to the moon, Richtofen actually swaps bodies with Samantha. That is then putting him in control of the zombies. Missiles are launched towards Earth, creating the Black Ops 2 timeline in which our four characters then are actually trying to survive on the apocalyptic Earth. And then for the Easter eggs, then you can either do them in Maxis or Richtofen's favor, and then advances to Buried, and then that's pretty much it. That timeline is completely dead. Like, obviously the Black Ops 3 timeline that we're playing on now completely stops that. Obviously in der EISENDRACHE we blow up the moon, so obviously Richtofen, the older Richtofen, who was already shot, so he couldn't actually make it up there himself, but nonetheless all the work up on the moon and like the missiles on moon can never actually reach Earth and blow it up. So the entire Black Ops 2 timeline is completely destroyed. But coming right on back to when Richtofen swaps bodies with Samantha and puts himself in control of the zombies. Samantha would be in the MPD, and in order for Richtofen to get in control, he swaps bodies with Samantha, opening the MPD up on moon and actually sort of physically swapping souls, and he'd be in her body, she'd return back into the MPD, and then like nothing is really heard of our characters up on moon. A lot of people are thinking they're going to come back, but obviously on the Black Ops 3 timeline we're completely changing history, as I said already, and one of the test subjects that actually sort of travels to the moon later on with Richtofen on the parallel universe that is the Black Ops 1 timeline is Dempsey, and we've already trapped him in the summoning key. So we've eliminated three possible factors into ever blowing up the moon again, and of course completely preventing Samantha being sort of let out in some way of the MPD. But unfortunately Samantha isn't in the MPD anymore, because when we actually get to the Easter egg step in der EISENDRACHE right before the final boss fight, we give one of the keepers a lot of energy, and basically he goes up and starts wreaking havoc on the moon. You hear Graf screaming and shouting and different things like that, and then eventually an MPD spawns right back down, and when you put one of the blue cylinders on, opening up the MPD, you expect to see Samantha, but you see a Gatekeeper. And this Gatekeeper, we presume, is the exact same one we just sort of helped get up on the moon, and he comes back down dragging the MPD with him. And Samantha is absolutely nowhere to be seen. Then we go into the boss battle, and when you actually complete that, if you are lucky enough to complete that, I fucking still can't get it, but nonetheless, you come out of that, place the summoning key up at the computers, then you progress on to blow up the moon, where the MPD that the Gatekeeper just teleported back down was previously located. But when you do come out of the boss fight, it is back to the stone pyramid which we seen before we started the previous step. Now, this leads us to believe that the stone pyramid re-teleports or comes back basically here, and the MPD that was just there with the Gatekeeper is back up on the moon. We progress then on to actually blow up the moon. And then does this leave us with the conclusion that this MPD then blows up and that is the end of the actual MPD? Well, a little trivia would suggest that maybe the MPD is now floating around space, because whenever you shot the MPD up on the map of moon, it took absolutely no bullet damage. Basically, you couldn't put a bullet hole in it. It was basically immune to any type of damage. So would that mean that everything on the moon would be destroyed except for this MPD? Remember, it is a mythical object and it has sort of a lot lot of supernatural powers. It is practically a gateway to the ether. I presume it is tough enough to handle an explosion as large as one to actually blow up the moon, but that could be just completely off topic. Now, in order for us to actually go forward finding a solution, we actually need to go back. How did Samantha originally get into the MPD? Well, at the start of the giant intro cutscene, if you guys ever played it on solo or ever just seen the giant intro cutscene in general, basically at the start you will see Richtofen saying goodbye Dr. Maxis. Maxis and Samantha are in that teleporter, he teleports them, and of course on the Black Ops 1 timeline, Samantha actually sort of got teleported up and then ran into the MPD, presuming that it had oxygen in it because she was on the moon, she couldn't breathe. And where Maxis actually went, we believe sort of there was a bit of delay in the teleportation and he followed her up to the moon. And how I actually know all this, it's basically in the moon radios. I've already made a video on it for those who don't actually sort of have moon or never access moon or don't actually know the radios. They're really cool to listen to. It's about 10 minutes long, but I actually include all the relevant ones to the actual Black Ops 3 timelines. Do click the link on screen right now if you're watching on a PC or laptop, or the link in the description below for that video. It is definitely interesting. But coming back to, of course, the topic of this video, Samantha. Der EISENRACHE takes place 2 weeks after the giant. That gives us about a 2-week time span in which Samantha should be teleported up onto the moon and put in control of the zombies. And since right after we actually teleport her, the zombies actually start spawning immediately, and of course they all have yellow eyes, we presume Samantha should be up on the moon in the MPD in control of the zombies. And that brings us right back to the dilemma of where the hell is Samantha? Well, another thing that you should know that is sort of a bit of an unknown thing among the community is there's actually 3 MPDs. One is located in Shangri-La. If you ever played that map, it's the jungle map with these sort of weird statues all around the place. The second is of course up on the moon, and the third one is believed to be somewhere in space, but I don't know whether that is sort of debunked, and now the third one we actually know is right here, right now on the map of Der EISENRACHE. But nonetheless, Samantha could very well be in Shangri-La. There could be a different sort of configuration with the teleportation in this timeline compared to the other Black Ops 1 timeline, and she could easily be controlling the zombies from Shangri-La. That is definitely plausible. Let's call that theory number 1. Theory number 2 is sort of involving me diving a little bit deeper into Samantha's room, which is displayed in Der EISENRACHE. One of the pictures on our wall is rather peculiar to the rest. Some of the other ones have sort of pictures of her and Fluffy and different things like that. This one has a picture of her lying in bed and a gatekeeper issuing her to actually come with her, or come with him, whatever like the goddamn sex of the thing is. But nonetheless, it's actually issuing her to come with it, I'm gonna say, just to be safe. But nonetheless, like, that isn't really explained, and it doesn't really make sense. Like, did the gatekeeper actually sort of leave with Samantha? Did they go somewhere? And what did they do? What were they showing Samantha? What was so like important about this sort of journey? And here's where it gets a little bit crazy. So I'm thinking that maybe the gatekeepers, the power of the gatekeepers, since they can easily travel between alternate universes, we got that from a cipher actually, they can easily teleport and transport between different Earths, different locations, different teleportations, different universes, whatever you want to call it. They can easily travel through them, and chances are they can actually take people with them. And we know that the map of Origins, of course, is an alternate universe. It was never explained how Samantha got into that universe and into the Earth's core, being Agartha, and how she then called out to our characters. How did that happen? So if you haven't picked up on it already, chances are you're not going to yet, so I'm gonna have to spell it out for you. Basically, I'm thinking the gatekeeper took Samantha, maybe even duplicated her and left sort of an alternate version of her from another dimension in this timeline, and sort of Maxis never really noticed that she wasn't the same. He took that Samantha that they needed from this timeline and brought her right on in to Agartha, and then sort of got her to speak to the characters and get them on the mission, and sort of creating this sort of a bit of a loop. But if our characters sort of follow the orders in which they did, can easily break it and then progress on to change history. But that still leaves the sort of thing of, if they did dupe Samantha, basically where is she? Maybe they did it at the right time, maybe while she was teleporting to get the moon they sort of intercepted and pulled her, and then that's what the picture actually symbolizes. But nonetheless, it is also a plausible theory. Treyarch are totally crazy with some of their ideas, and I thought this would fit well into the whole theme Blundell is actually going for. Now, both of these theories could very well be wrong. I've got some theories right in the past, I've got some wrong. That's just the way it works. But remember, we are dealing with ancient beasts, and we're learning more and more about their powers and what they can do, and how supernatural they actually are. So more information could come out in the future backing this up, or it could completely debunk it. And only time will tell, really, where Samantha actually is, but I can only guess she's either in Shangri-La or she's completely erased from time and back in Origins. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. And yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all learned something. Any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. If you want me to make a video on one of your questions or anything like that, one of your theories, basically leave it down in the comment section below, or hit me up on twitter.com/LittleMarMan. Of course, subscribe if you're new. If you haven't done it, you are very foolish. Subscribe if you're new, and of course, like the video as well. Yeah, that is pretty much it. Peace out, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in another video very, very soon, and goodbye.